Alrighty. We're gonna get started in just a sec. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you for tapping in today. I'm gonna teach a live class. We're gonna talk about how to work with scientists. We're gonna let a few people get in the room in just a quick second. In the time being, if you're a notary on here, this is your first time tapping in, let me know and give you a shout out as well. I got a nice presentation for y'all today. I'm hopeful that you guys will get a ton of value from this. So give me a brief second and we're going to get the party started. Get started in just a sec. No, I'm not going to do that right now. Let me just do this. Okay. Alrighty. Let's do it. Let me add this to the stage. Let's get it. What's going on, everyone? Good evening. Appreciate you all for being here on this good Monday. I hope your Monday is going well. I originally taught this class, I want to say a week or two ago, but I was having some difficulties to get the class uploaded. So why not teach it again? So if you're not familiar, my name is Referrals. Today we're going to talk about how to work with signing services. Oftentimes, the goal for most notaries is to go direct. But in the time being, we have to develop ways on how we can get business until we go direct. So one of the ways that we generate income is by working with signing services. And I often was able to generate income by working with signing services. Now I'm at a point in my career where I don't have to work with signing services, but if you are at that point, this is for you. And I'm going to show you today how to earn more by working with them. So let's get right into it. My name is Referrals again. I am the founder of Stamper Signings. We are a nationwide service that specializes in providing estate planning notary services for estate planning law firms. And I am also the founder of the Stamping Academy, where we help notaries earn more money. We also help them to discover their niche as well. We've built built this Stamper Signings into a six-figure agency within 2 years. I've been in the business for about 6 years in total. So I'll give you a brief background about myself. I was in the business again. Actually, this would be 7 years going in October or November, one of those months. Sorry if you can hear the ice cream truck in the background. But yeah, I've been in the business, it'll be 7 years. Initially, when I got into the business, I was mainly focused on doing loan closings, working with a ton of signing services, but it wasn't until 2021 where I made the decision to go all in on just starting a signing service and try to break away from working with signing services. And since that point in time, it has been a hell of a ride. I've done more than what I thought I would be able, that I imagined within this notary business. Again, I do specialize in doing estate planning signings. We've completed 200 plus estate plan signings so far. So it's safe to say I've found my niche. It's safe to say. So that's a big background about myself. This is my desired outcome for you by attending this class. The one, I want you to be able to learn and apply practical skills that you can leverage in the marketplace to earn more. Oftentimes, we have an idea of how we want to earn more in the notary business, but oftentimes we have these ideas, but we're not actually applying the skills that's needed to actually bring it to fruition, or we just don't have the knowledge. I'm hopeful today by the end of this class, you'll have those skills and have the confidence knowing that, okay, I have the ability to go out to reach out to my target market or reach out to these signing services to see how we can earn more income for our business. Number two, I want you to be able to connect and establish a direct relationship with credible signing service owners. Here's the key part: credible signing services. I've been seeing a ton of signing services that are going out of business, wherever the case may be, or they're just skipping out on paying notaries. So it's very important you want to work with people who work with companies that are credible and they're able to provide as many opportunities as possible. So I want you to be able to connect and have those relationships with them so you can do, which we'll touch on the third point. Also, lastly, I want you to think like a winner. I want you to avoid these loser Facebook groups. Oftentimes, there are not oftentimes, but all the time, I see a lot of notaries that's in these Facebook groups, and they complain about companies that's either not paying enough or they're not paying on time. They're complaining about the rates. All that they just focus so much on the negative where they're just hindering themselves at the end of the day. So by attending this class, I'm going to help you think like a winner. I want you to avoid these loser groups because when you're constantly complaining, you're not making any real progression with your business. Okay. So those are my desired outcomes for you. Let's get right into it. So if we want to start working with signing services, if we want to build credible relationships with signing service owners, first thing we need to do is we need to be able to find them. Where do we find these credible signing services? Where do we find these owners? Right? Where do they hang out with? Who do they congregate with? And I'm going to keep this very simple for you. So let's find out, how do we find these individuals? Number one, we can find them on social media. I'm a signing service owner. I'm always on social media. So I'm more than confident that there are other signing service owners out there that's on social media as well. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on TikTok. You can find them on YouTube. You can also find them on Facebook as well. Those are the more common known platforms that they typically use. You can also try using LinkedIn. I didn't add that, but you can also try using LinkedIn as well. Um, I haven't had the I haven't had a ton of success with LinkedIn, but if that's something that you're already into and you're already posting consistently on that platform, by all means, use that as a pathway to connect with signing service owners. Number two, in-person networking events. Oftentimes, so when notaries are signing up with signing services, they're pretty much just signing up with the company, and the company serves as a directory. So as a notary, only thing you would need to do is just be on standby and to make yourself available if need to be. Well, for the signing service owner, they are mostly doing marketing, right? We're mostly doing marketing, right? So oftentimes, this is a service-based business, so we have to go out and go to these networking events and build these relationships. So where can you catch them at an in-person networking event? This could be like a local BNI. This could be a local realtors association. It could be a bar association. It could be any type of in-person networking event that involves real estate, that involves estate planning. It may involve personal injury, anything that's related in the business field or where professionals are going to associate mostly. So you want to get in these events. Oftentimes, these are going to be where these signing service owners are going to be at. Number three, you can find them on Google. Uh, pretty easy. All you gotta do is make a Google search. Go on Google, find a signing service that may be in your area, or they may be outside of an area, or they may be outside of your area, or they may be in another state. But as long as you know, you do your due diligence and you know that they do consistent business in your area, you want to find them on Google, whether that's through phone call, whether it's through text or sending an email, which I touch on shortly. And yeah, so those are going to be three areas of where you want to find these signing service owners to build relationships with them. So now that we know where to find them, we need to put a plan. We need to put a plan of action together. We need to find out, how do we get their attention? How do we, now that we know how to find these signing service owners, how do we get their attention? And here's a few ways of how we can get their attention. Number one, you want to introduce yourself via text, DM, email, or through phone call. I would say personally, I would say, in my opinion, the best way to get a response by introducing yourself is typically going to be through email. Reason why I say that is because oftentimes I will have notaries that reach out to me, whether it's through text, whether it's through phone call, or even sometimes DM. Now, typically through text and DM, I'm kind of slow to respond. It's not by design. It's just I get really busy throughout the day, so it's very hard for me to always keep track with all the notaries that reach out to me. But if you want to reach out to me, if you want to get the quickest response, it's going to be through email. Why would it be through emails? Because oftentimes when signing services are getting requests for signings, it's typically the client is going to email them. So whether it's a title company, whether it's an attorney, or it's a business in general, they're typically going to reach out to you via email. So if they're doing that, then the best case for you to get a quicker response will be to reach out to that sign service owner via email. Another way to get their attention is, like I said, if you following them on social media platforms. Again, they have Facebook, they have Instagram, they have YouTube, they have TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. They have all these social media platforms. You want to follow them. You want to see what they're doing in their day to day, and you want to leave comments under their posts, right? So oftentimes, if I make a post, I'll have notaries who I've worked with before, or someone or a notary that wants to work with me. I'll go into my notifications and I may see they may have like 10, 15 different posts. By doing that, okay, you clearly got my attention. I'm going to find out who this notary is in particular. I'm going to find out what area that is, what's their experience level like. I'm going to my interest in them because they're obviously liking and engaging with content. And oftentimes we have other sign of service owners who may have like an online business, right? They may be coaching. They may be teaching a course. They may be doing these things, right, along with running a sign of service. And oftentimes, by leaving a comment, liking their posts, it's a great way to boost their engagement, and that's a great way for you to get on their radar as well. So, follow them on social platforms. You can't go wrong with that. If they have a Facebook group, join it. I have a Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Stamper community, shameless plug. If you have not joined the Stamper community, uh-oh. I had someone else calling me up. Lost my train of thought. Yes, if they have if I'm shameless plug, I have the Stamper community. It's my Facebook group. I typically post signings within that group. If you have not joined already, I definitely would encourage you to join our Facebook group. I typically post signings in that group. I also post upcoming workshops, and also have other notaries who post their signings in that group as well. So, great opportunity to be in that group. Shameless plug. But yes, if they have a Facebook group, join the group. You want to get on their radar. And lastly, you want to be a part of the ecosystem in general. So for me, for example, I have podcasts, I have a network of notaries, I do YouTube, I have all these different things. And oftentimes the notaries who have joined, who kind of got into my ecosystem, those are the people who I usually have had the opportunity to work with. I give you a great example. So there's a notary out in Florida. Her name is Leilani. I'm gonna give you a shout out. I believe she found my content on YouTube. Just checked it out. Just was just very engaging. From there, from her checking out the YouTube, she joined our stamp, showing that she joined the Stamper community. From there, she followed me on Instagram as well. And so just by her being in the ecosystem and her engaging with it and engaging in the content, engaging in the comments on Facebook, when I had a signing that came up in Florida and it was in her area, she was the first person who I reached out to for that signing. Right? Reason why is because she didn't do anything special. She didn't do anything that was just out of the ordinary. She kept things very simple. She was engaging with the content. She was on my radar. And when I needed someone that was in that area, when I needed a notary for a signing that was in that area, she was top of mind. I reached out to her. And since that point, we've been able to establish a great business relationship. So, but you as a notary, you that's watching this, you can do the same exact thing. Again, let's recap. Introduce yourself. The best way to do that would be to send out an email, follow them on social media platforms, leave a comment under their posts, engage with them. If they have a Facebook group, if they have a Slack group, if they have any type of online community, be a part of that group. You want to be on their radar, and then just be a part of the ecosystem. Just be a part of the ecosystem, and you'll start to see those opportunities come your way as well. Right. So we know where to find sign of service owners, right? We know how to get their attention. Now, the next thing we got to do is probably the most difficult thing, and this is where a lot of notaries, what's that word I'm looking for? Where a lot of notaries make mistakes, and that's staying top of mind. You know, let me give you a quick story. So I got introduced to a notary from I want to say from a peer of mine. I want to say last year. And this notary who I connected with, I got introduced to her. We had a great conversation, had all the certifications, had all the experience, she pretty much checked off on all the boxes on the type of person who I would work with. But here's the problem. That was my first and last time only talking to her. Right? Did she do anything wrong? No, she didn't. Like I said, she was great, great personality, all around professional. But the problem is, I do so many signings a week, right? I get so many signings a week. I have different responsibilities and tasks. I have staff as well. It's kind of hard for it'll be kind of difficult for her to stay top of mind if she may not if she doesn't happen to reach out. And so if I may happen to have a signing that's in the area where she may be located, right? I might end up passing that signing to another notary who may not be as credentialed. They may not be as more experienced as that notary. But the difference between that notary who I'm hiring and the notary who's more experienced, more credentialed, is that notary stays top of mind. They're hungry. They want business. They checking in, right? And they stay top of mind. So there's quite a few people, there's quite a few notaries who I've worked with where they're not doing anything special. Their approach is simple. They're just staying top of mind. They're doing the simple things, right? So let's go. So let's get into how you can stay top of mind so you can get consistent business. So one of the best things you can do, probably the absolute best thing that you can do uh to stay top of mind is to send referrals, right? Sending referrals is the best way to stay top of mind. I could say personally, whenever I've had, okay, let me take that back. Send referrals, right? Can you help them find a reliable notary at the last minute? Right. I had a situation, I had a signing, I want to say a week, I had a signing about a week or two ago where I already had the order filled, right? And the notary, he ended up getting sick or whatever the case may be, and I was almost put in a tough bind, right? But this notary was able to help me out. He was able to refer me to another notary who was able to do that signing, and that saved me hours of time of trying to find someone that's professional and credible. He referred me to this notary. The notary was available. They did an absolutely outstanding job, and because of that, the gentleman who called out sick from the signing, I'm going to always continue to go. I'm going to always continue to work with this gentleman because he was gracious enough to send me a referral. Even though he wasn't able to do the signing, he still wanted to make sure that the signing was done. He wanted to make sure that we weren't left hanging and we were able to get the job done. And so when I can't speak for everyone else, but for me personally, someone want to go out their way to help me out to make sure a signing is taken care of, so our clients, our service, that is going to be a notary who I'm always going to work with. Right. So send referrals. Oftentimes, if you're, I know there's not a lot of sign and service owners that use SnapDocs and use signing order all the time. Sometimes they're using their own directories, or they have to go to a directory like signagent.com or 123 Notary to find a notary for their signings. So if you're able to help, if you're able to help a signing service owner find a notary for their signing, you can save them time. You can save them headaches. You can save them from having to vet out a notary who they have absolutely no knowledge of. They just happen to find this person. Oftentimes, those are going to be the people who I'm going to keep top of mind whenever we have a signing that's available. So if you want to stay top of mind, send referrals and watch how your business change. How to also stay top of mind is be available. It's just be available. I can't tell you how many times I've had a notary reach out to me and say, "Oh, I'm looking forward to working with you, and I serve this area, yada yada yada." And then I reach out to that notary to see if they're available. They're not available. Okay, great. First time, I don't hold it against you. Second time, okay, great. You just may be busy. The third time around, if you just not available, then hey, maybe it just doesn't make sense for us to work with each other. You probably already have an influx of direct business coming in, or you just have business coming in from other areas where it just doesn't make sense for you to work with us. So be available for notaries that's available all the time or consistently with us. Those notaries always stay top of mind because they're available. Very simple. And this is something that, lastly, this is something that I have a few notaries that do. Send two email reminders. Send two email reminders. I have notaries who send me emails checking in at the top of the month, and they'll also send an email at the end of the month. Now, why is that important for you to send an email at the top of the month and at the end of the month? At the top of the month, New goals. There's new goals. There's going to be new goals that's set for that signing service. There's going to be new opportunities. And if you're a notary and you want to have a direct relationship with that company or the owner, you want to get in the thick of that. You want to get in the thick of things. You want to position yourself to say, okay, well, at the top of the month, when they have some business coming in, I want to be top of mind for whenever they need a notary, and or make myself available when they call my name, right? And then at the end of the month, as we know, especially if you're working with title companies, they're often trying to get as many closings in as possible at the end of the month. And it doesn't hurt to just check in and say, hey, I'm just checking. I'm just reaching out. I know it's the end of the month. I know typically you guys are probably going to be pretty busy, and you may need someone that's available. I just want to check in and let you know I am available between. I'm available Monday through Saturday. I'm available mornings, afternoons, and evenings as well if need to be. And as simple as that. I think that's pretty simple. I think you all can send 2 email reminders, and this is not something that you have to do manually, right? You can even automate this process, right? You can automate it by creating a list of signing service owners, signing services, or the owners get their emails and just put them on an automatic campaign to where that email reminder is going to go out at the top of the month and at the month. And even and you can, and this can extend past just sending an email as well, right? You can send a text message. Shout out to Virginia. She's on the call. She's on here right now. She'll often send me a text message, just checking in and say, hey, Rafael, just checking in, let you know, hey, just want to check in and say, hey, if you have any, just asking if you have any signings in this area. Sometimes I do, sometimes I may not. If I do have a signing, I'll let you know. Say, okay, cool, no problem. I just want to check in. By just checking in, by sending a text or just sending a phone call, that's an easy way to stay top of mind. But if you don't do these 3 things, right, by sending a referral or try to help them find a notary at the last minute, or just be available, or just sending an email reminder, or sending a reminder text, or just sending up a follow-up phone call, it's kind of hard. It's going to be pretty difficult to stay top of mind. And you got to figure you're not the only notary that's probably reaching out to the signing service owner as well. Especially if you have signing service owners that's nationwide. They're doing signings in every state, right? They have notaries from every state reaching out to them because they want to have that direct relationship with the company. So you got to figure you're not the only one, right? So it's a battle of attrition. It is a long-term game, but as long as you reach out, you do these 3 simple things, you're going to win out in the end. You're going to beat out the other notary who's not as consistent, who's not as serious about continuing to bring in new business. So yeah, stay top of mind. So we know where to find signing service owners. We know how to get their attention, and now we know how to stay top of mind. So let's talk about how to earn a higher fee, right? Because this is often the complaint in these groups. I just seen a complaint in the Facebook group today about a company that was offering to pay someone $25, or I think $25 or $50 for one signature signing or something like that. And I just want to say it doesn't serve you any benefit complaining. It doesn't serve you any benefit from complaining about the rates, because at the end of the day, you are more than welcome to get out here and market your services and try to build and get your own direct business. Because here's the thing, you can complain about signing services and their rates. Wherever the rate they're paying, is someone out there that's accepting it at the end of the day. So whoever is accepting it, hey, that's on them. But for you, for the person that's in the group and that's complaining, it doesn't serve you any benefit. It's not going to put any more money in your pocket. But for this part, I'm going to help you avoid complaining within these groups. All right. So let's talk about how you can earn a higher fee from working with signing services. Number one, you gotta ask. You gotta ask, right? You ever heard the term "a closed mouth doesn't get fed"? It is applicable to this situation. You can't get a higher fee if you do not ask, right? Um, I've often have every day. I think every day. I don't want to say every day, but I often have notaries who ask me, "It's like, hey, I know this is the rate for the signing, but are you willing to pay this amount? Are you willing to count? Are you willing to pay this amount?" Or they'll send me a counter offer. And depending on who that person, depending on who that notary is, and I know they're credible and I know they are professional, I know they do good work, I'll be open to accepting a counter offer. Because for me personally, I care about quality, right? You can get paid $250 for a signing, but if the quality of the service was trash, you better believe they'll never call you again. One of the keys to receiving one of the keys to receiving consistent business is through quality, right? How professional are you? Um, how did you treat the client, right? Were you a nuisance? Were you a headache? When it was time to ask questions to a client about the particular document, were you willing to do those things, right? So always keep quality in mind, right? But again, you can't earn a higher fee if you don't ask. And if they say no to the counter offer, you do have the choice to either say no, that's okay, or you can proceed with just take on the signing anyway and still get paid. So, but again, you can't get a higher fee unless you ask, right? When should you ask? I had a peer of mine that was on my podcast. I want to say either last year or 2 years ago. And her process, I'm gonna share. She shared this process on my podcast, so I'm gonna share it with y'all as well. So typically, what she does is, let's say she's working with a new signing service. Let's say if the fee is $80 or $85, she's going to take that rate. And if they give her 10 signings, she's going to do 10 signings at that rate, or if it's $80 or $85. And her focus is going to be quality, providing a great service for her clients, and trying to build and establish a great relationship with that company. And she'll do that for 10. Now, after those 10 signings are completed for this particular signing service, and then that signing service comes back to her for an 11th signing, she then is going to counter offer. So she may have been accepting $85 for the first 10 signings. Now she may say she may want $95. All right. And if that signing service, you know how seriously she takes her craft, that signing service is not going to say no. Because here's the thing, all notaries aren't created equal. Say it again, all notaries aren't created equal. So you don't be afraid to ask, right? Because if you know the quality of your service is good, and you know that it's not too many notaries that can do what you do, when you do counter offer that signing service for a higher fee, they're going to say yes. Now, obviously, they're not going to go out their way. And now obviously, if it's not going to make sense for you to ask for a 30, 40, or $50 increase, because at the end of the day, I mean, the signing service still has to be profitable too. Please keep that in mind too. When you're working with signing services, they have to be profitable as well. So you want to make a counter offer that makes sense. But I would just give you that example. You do so many number of signings for that particular service. You built a great relationship with them. They know the quality of your work. They know your professionalism. They see how serious you are about your craft. Present that counter offer, and then I would say I'm confident more than likely they will say yes to your fee, because I know other notaries who use this same exact formula, and they tell me that they're getting higher fees from signing services. Now that's much different from what you're seeing from other notaries in these Facebook groups. Why? Because maybe the quality of their service is trash. They're not professional. Maybe those signing service owners see that they're in these Facebook groups complaining as well, and it's not serving them any justice. But for the people that's serious about their craft, they're professional, their quality of work is great, they know how to ask, they know how to negotiate, they're getting higher fees for their signings as well. So don't be afraid to ask, and have a formula for when you should ask. And if you are going to ask for a higher fee, here's the catch to that: you can't make mistakes. You can't make mistakes. Unfortunately, especially if you're doing loan signings, the name of the game is you have to be perfect, because the entire closing is riding on you, right? So if a person is selling a home, the seller wants to get their money. If the person is buying the home, the person wants to get the keys to their home. The realtor doesn't get paid from the realtor doesn't get their commission. The loan officer doesn't get their commission. The escrow officer doesn't get paid for the signing as well until the documents are notarized and finalized. So if you're asking for a higher fee, and then the signing service approves your fee, but then you make a mistake, everyone is not going to everyone involved is not going to be happy with you, and they're really not going to be happy with the fact that not only that you asked for a higher fee, but we approved your higher fee and you still made mistakes. So if you're going to be in here, if you're going to if you're going to ask for a higher fee, which you should, you are entitled to do that. You need to make sure the quality of your work is great. You can't make mistakes. You're going to have to spend that extra time double checking your documents, triple checking your documents, making sure that you didn't miss anything, making sure you scan back to the client on time, sure you're dropping the documents on time as well. You can't make any mistakes, because if you make a mistake, then the chances of you working with that signing service again, the quote or at the fee that makes sense for you, they're not going to approve it because you didn't take the time to make sure the signing that we hired you before wasn't you didn't take the necessary steps possible to make sure that this was a mistake-free signing. So don't make mistakes. Easier said than done. But yeah, you can't make any mistakes if you're going to ask for a higher fee. It's just a part of the game. I didn't make up the rules. So let's recap over how to earn a higher fee. So number one, ask. Right? If you don't ask, you can't get the fee. Knowing when you should ask. Have a formula for when you should ask. Should you ask after the first 5 signings with that client? Should you ask after the first 10? Have a formula for when you should ask. And then lastly, once your fee is approved, you can't make a mistake. You have to be perfect. You have to be perfect. All right. So that concludes this work. This concludes this mini course or class on how to work with signing services, how to command a higher fee for your signings, how to connect and build direct relationships with signing service owners. One of the things that you can do by connecting and having that direct relationship with the signing service owners by partnering with me, partnering with Stamp. All right, join the Stampers. You join our Stamper signings. Join our network. We're always looking for notaries to work with. We are projecting an increase in Florida business. So if you are a Florida notary watching this and you have not joined our network, I would definitely encourage you to join our network because we're looking to work with more Florida notaries as well. Join the Stamper Community Facebook group. I often post signings in that group. Also post upcoming classes, workshops. Also have other notaries who post their signings at other events that they have coming up. And it's also good to just network with other notaries in general. It's always good to be a part of that community. So if you have not already, make sure you join the Stamper Community Facebook group. Follow me on all social media platforms. Stamper Notary, STAMPER Notary on all social media platforms. Partner with me. More than likely, you will get a request from me for an estate plan signing. But yeah, make sure you partner with me. And then before we head out, we do have an offer. We're having a power of attorney workshop this upcoming Saturday. The idea of this class is to help you to complete to be able to help you to complete a power of attorney. I know I've picked up power of attorney signings based on the fact that other notaries in my area or outside of my area just don't know how to do them, or they're just not confident in performing this type of signing. You should learn how to perform a power of attorney signing because, again, we're still in the midst of one of the largest generational wealth transfers in history. And oftentimes, power of attorneys are often in estate planning documents, and it's really good that you should know how to provide the service. It is a niche service. So by being in this workshop, the outcome is, again, you're going to learn how to complete a power of attorney. You're going to become an authority on how to complete power of attorneys. You're going to know how to confidently close this type of appointment. So when you're on the phone and you have a client that's looking to get a power of attorney document notarized, you're going to know the process as far as knowing if witnesses are needed, all the way down to the IDs, what type of power of attorney form this is. You're going to have all those things in place so that way you can confidently close this type of appointment, go into the signing, and make sure that it's completed with accuracy. And you're also going to know which audience needs this service. So I give you some freebies. So typically, the type of audience who needs this service is going to be for people that may be dealing with the health. They may be dealing with a health event, right? A health scare event, whether that's in a hospital, whether they're in hospice, whether they're in nursing care. And you'll also see power of attorneys in your estate plan signings as well. So often what I like to do is I like to we'll go to the nursing homes, go to the hospice cares, and connect with the administrators of those particular facilities, because oftentimes the person who needs a power of attorney, their loved one is going to either the social services coordinator or the administrator to find a notary or someone who can help them with getting this document notarized. So we'll go over all of that. We'll go over that for you. Make sure you're well equipped. So by the time you leave that workshop, you feel confident in your ability to close these type of appointments and be able to command command a high fee for this particular signing. General admission, it is $97. For those who attend the workshop, you will get access to the replay as well. And it's going to come with some exercises and it's actually going to come with exercises as well. So we're going to actually go through some exercises in the workshop so you can put a game plan together on how to approach this market when you do leave this workshop. All right. Hope you all got a ton of value from this. We're going to be doing more of these on a weekly basis on these weekly mini classes, workshops, going live on Instagram as well. If anything, I hope you guys, again, got some value from this. Let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks again. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I'm wishing you much success in your business. Peace.